Alright, so I wanted to do a quick tutorial on just how to use some of the light probes. I'm going to do this example in lightwave, but they are, compatible with any other package out there. They're just light probes, so you can use them however you want. So in lightwave, the way to do it is go to backdrop options, over here, add textured environment, set the axis to Y, go into texture, and in here again set it to Y, set the projection to spherical, and then do -1 on the width wrap amount. Essentially that will get it to what the scene actually has, and will match what the other renderers see. So let me turn on VPR, the interactive renderer. So this is it. This is now with, I'm using one of the free probes, the interior day cabin red curtain. Now if you change your opacity, that's essentially like an exposure control. So if I drop that down, it goes down. If I go, super high, it goes super high. So on this scene, I left it at 200. That's the other thing to remember on all these light probes. They have a ton of dynamic range, so you can expose it however you want. Some of the sunsets look a little dark, but when you bring them in, bring up that exposure, and they're all there. So this is essentially the scene. It's lit completely by this one light probe, and it works remarkably well. Let me show you then. We'll turn off VPR. And let me show you how to set it up in Octane. So let's go over to Octane and enable Octane. Open up the interactive renderer. Let's turn off that other GPU. Okay, now let's go into the editor. Okay, somehow it forgot all my settings. So in the video, I'm going to pause this. Let me just set this up. Well, I'll show you, because that way you can see how this goes start to finish. Oh, come on now. There we go. Now, I don't make any claims of being an amazing Octane user. It's a great render engine. I just haven't used it all that much. Okay, so let's add a camera. Let's add an environment texture, and this is where we're doing the image-based lighting. Let's go down and add an Octane texture, plug that into there, and we're going to select that, our curtain one again. And if I remember right, there we go. Rotation to 90 would match the lightwave one. That wasn't 90. Now you're seeing we're not getting a lot of bouncing in there. That's because we're not using the correct kernel. Let's open this up. And let's just go, actually that's enough. See how now we're getting light bouncing around? If you have that off, it just stays dark. There's not enough recursion in there, or bounce depth as some other things called. Now you can see it's lighting that up. And that's essentially it. That's image-based lighting in Octane. It's super easy. Just environment to there. You can add the imager, and here. Turn off hot pixel visibility, and it can clean up some of the noise that you're getting from caustics. Let's change our f-stop to like 1 to brighten it back up. And there you go. There, it's working in Octane. If we go and move around the scene, you can see this is on a Titan video card. So it's a pretty respectable video card. I'm leaving the other one off just so I can, keep working. And so that is image-based lighting in Octane. I'm not going to go into shading setup at all, but I did set these shaders up in Octane as well as Lightwave. So let's close that. Switch back to Lightwave. Now, if we go VPR here, you can see Lightwave's renderer is very respectable. Now, the other one was, a GPU renderer. This is Lightwave, which is completely CPU, and it's still a pretty dang fast render for being completely on the CPU. Now, I have in here, there we go. Now it's looking like the Octane would, where you'd see it in the background as well. So that's kind of fun. All right, let's go to another renderer. How about Maxwell? Actually, let's turn off this. Maxwell. This is an older version of Maxwell. I don't have the newest. This is version 2.7, I believe it is. So it's sending it over to Fire. Now, I've actually already set this up, but let me show you where it's at. So in Maxwell, again, I set up these shaders. Over here, IBL, image-based lighting, click Use Environment. Now I had to turn this way up to match kind of the other intensities. So we load our probe here, image, and then I've rotated it 90 degrees to match everybody else. And then you got to make sure you click this Propagate to all channels. If you forget that, it won't really work. Yeah, so that is image-based lighting in Maxwell. Just use environment. Now we don't want to do any of these other guys. We just want to use only the environment. And that's how. Maxwell's very, very pretty renderer. And it's actually not as slow as a lot of people think, but yeah, so it's a good renderer. Okay, so that is Maxwell. Okay, so the last one, and I'm going to have to ask the guy if I can show this, Arnold. So we're going to enable Arnold. We're going to open up the interactive preview render of Arnold. Okay, nothing's really happening. Let's go into our render settings. And under render settings, we're going to go to raise. We're going to change full GI, and we're also going to change the reflection depth, so we bounce some rays around in that grill. And we're going to change the sampling. We don't want this. We're going to change this to, let's say, 9. Hit OK. Reload. And there you have it. Image-based lighting in Arnold. Arnold is also a great renderer. So that was essentially the only settings. In render settings, it's actually using, which is dang cool, it's using Lightwave's backdrop settings and using that for its GI. Now all these shaders actually came right over from Lightwave. The only one that didn't really work very well was the glass here. I'd have to set up a specific glass, and that's what this is. But Octane has a thing where you can just pass through shaders. Arnold does not, as far as I can tell. There may be a way. Okay, so now that we've passed that through, we can see. We can now see through the glass, and it's kind of what we'd expect. Okay, let's switch back to let's go back to Lightwave. Let's see, actually, yeah, so switch to Lightwave. Let's see, render globals, Lightwave Arnold. Nah, let's go Lightwave normal render. Okay, there we go. Ah, it still has the wrong shader on the glass. That's fine. Okay, back to real glass. Okay, so that is back to the curtain scene. If we go back into backdrops, backdrop options here. Then we can swap it out with other images. Now the thing that's interesting, a lot of people look at all my probes and they say, you know, it seems a little weird to, here's a hallway next to a door with a big red curtain. When I saw that, I thought, oh, that's a beautiful lighting scenario, and I captured it. But it can work for me, like this is a great example of, okay, here's a car, and that's a really dynamic, beautiful lighting scenario for that car. And even though it's a very small scale situation, it just works well. So what I was looking at was not necessarily what it would look like as a backdrop, but just what it would look like for lighting, because lighting again is what's important. So here we go. Let me find another one. Let's say this balcony. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. It's this big balcony. Actually, these were ones I did in Detroit with this. Anytime you see a D in the name, it's from Detroit, rundown parts of Detroit. We were doing scouting for a film, and so I just took the camera and just got a lot of great probes for a very destruction-y type environment. So it's really pretty cool stuff. And so this is lighting the car with that. Again, you can see it completely changes the look of the car. That feels very different from the curtain scene. We can switch back and forth. And that's just changing our light probes. So that's kind of the value in having just a lot of great different opportunities, a lot of great different light probes, is you can change the look drastically just, you know, switching out to a different probe. And that works remarkably well. I hope this has been helpful. I'll try to do some tutorials in a different package besides Lightwave, but I just wanted to show you the possibility of how these light probes can really help your lighting and make for some very interesting dynamic lighting scenarios. And then I just wanted to show you in Lightwave, you know, a couple four different rendering engines, and how to set it up in the different rendering engines. Hopefully this has been helpful. Talk to you later.